Hey guys, my name is Dave and welcome to another video. So, I'm sure several of you already know this, but um, just to reiterate, starting, I think it's like last week or something, but officially this week, we're every Tuesday we're going to be doing a Vlogmas video. For today, I actually wanted to get back to our series of disabilities, disorders, and diseases. Not particularly in that order. I actually forgot which order the playlist says. But for today's video, I wanted to talk about a disability that a lot of people have a tendency to misuse. And that is actually, as the title says, OCD, Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. Now, a lot of people in the world, they'll say, I must have it super clean. I'm OCD about it. That's not OCD. First of all, I want to reiterate, I'm not trying to hate on those who do this, because this is just an extremely well-known instinctive human thing to do. I'm pretty sure in the past I've done it, so I'm not hating on those who say it. But I am going to say this. You are politically incorrect. Just because you say that doesn't make you OCD. It makes you a neat freak. Kind of like me recently, actually. What is OCD then? Well, I mean, I said the name of it earlier, right? Obsessive compulsive disorder. Now, what does that exactly entail? Well, to put it shortly, someone who obsessively goes off of a specific instinct in a specific way, and this is very particular, this is an extremely light way of putting it. Not every detail needed to actually define it, but in a short manner of speaking, that's OCD. Just when you obsessively act upon something to a degree where it's not exactly direct instinct, it's more of a genetic thing. This is a very easy way of putting the term. I wouldn't directly say it's the best way to describe OCD, but let me exactly give an example of what OCD is. I'll give two examples. The first will involve the cleaning thing. A lot of people will say, I must be clean in this specific way. But let me ask you this. If somebody was messy about it, would you be able to live? As long as it wasn't you. Yeah? You're not OCD. However, I will give those who say no to that question. If you can't, if somebody starts doing it and it bothers the crap out of you, the exact millisecond you see it, you potentially could be. I'm not saying you are, but you could be. So that's probably the best way I can describe it under a OCD versus neat freak aspect. But here's another better example where it's a bit more common. Someone who's OCD has a tendency to, they'll have a tendency to go about a day where they'll live a life. Let's go off the idea of a relationship, for example. The person who's OCD, obsessive compulsive, you put them in a pattern, you're never getting them out of it. And if you are able to, their mind will constantly think of that pattern anyway. You know that stereotype, or that, not really stereotype, but that situation where someone will approach a circumstance, like I don't know, You'll get in bed with your partner, and that partner will randomly say someone else's name, and you'll be like, "Who's this person?" I'm sure a lot of people have heard of that situation because it shows up in quite a few movies or shows. Does it happen in reality very often? Not really, but someone who's OCD, by unintentional instinct, can actually do that. Um, Especially if they had been in a relationship with that individual for ages. It's an interesting concept in my mind. OCD is one of those things, obsessive compulsive disorder is one of those things where it's like, you would think that, like, a lot of people have a tendency to think it's just, oh, I must have it this way. Which is true, but not the full picture. That is one tiny fraction of what OCD is. Obsessive compulsive disorder, yes, the person must have it a very particular way. All the time. Literally. That is the major difference that a lot of people have a tendency to get construed up. If you're OCD, not only do you need a specific way, but the millisecond, not a few minutes later, the millisecond that you see it different, you're going to instantly act on it. You won't complain, you'll act. Now, I want to reiterate, not everyone's like this. Not everyone with OCD is like this. I met several people who have been diagnosed with OCD before. Legitimately diagnosed, by the way. Not those who just go about the day once again saying, oh, I'm OCD, I must have it this way. That doesn't make you OCD. Well, again, back to the must have everything organized in a specific way. You're a neat freak. You're not OCD. But again, this doesn't apply to everyone. There are some people who think that way who are OCD. And I'm not going to claim, if I don't know the person, I'm not, or if you come across this, I'm not claiming you aren't OCD. But there are several people in the world who are not OCD who claim it, who are actually like neat freaks. Or, must have something a specific way, but not to a point where it bothers them. That is the major difference between OCD right there. There's like this genetic instinct where if you end up approaching something and you see it different and it instantly bothers you, then yes, you're OCD. And I'm sure there are some people who may or may not see this in some point in the future and think, this guy's hating on me. I'm OCD. He didn't point at the fact that, like, no. That's not what I'm doing. It's just OCD has a tendency to be over-exaggerated, as do quite a few other disorders that whether we talked about or not on here. Bipolar disorder is another one, which I believe we've discussed on this channel before, when I was still either engaged or married to Pink Fox. Bipolar disorder is another good example of a disorder that gets over-exaggerated. And usually that happens to give like some kind of example. Well, OCD generally, when it gets over-exaggerated into some, like, claiming, oh, I'm OCD because I must have it this way. A lot of people do that just to prove a point. It's not exactly directly claiming that, yes, I have been diagnosed with OCD because this minor thing happened. No one ever says that. A lot of people do say they have OCD, but they're not direct. A lot of people who do that aren't directly saying, yes, I must have OCD, the actual condition. That's not what they're saying. I'm going to acknowledge this now. And a lot of people out there, they will claim OCD. It's an over-exaggerated version of it, which is fine. It is fine. There is nothing wrong with that. But the reason I made this video in the first place to talk about it is because I don't want other people out there getting the actual disorder that a lot of people do have to go through mixed up with how people over-exaggerate the term. I've actually had several friends, a couple partners in the past who have had OCD, and admittedly for me, it was a little bit too much to bear, the obsessive part, because of the fact that the obsessiveness, and I'm going to acknowledge this now, not their fault, so I left it alone because of that. But the obsessiveness does have a tendency to cause them to act in specific ways that if they were in anyone else's shoes, would be considered illegal, because it could be considered stalkerish. However, because of this, that's like the major difference between people who are OCD compared to those who claim to be so. Those who claim to be so nag about it well, no, the other way around. Those who claim to be so are usually normal individuals. But those who actually have it will have a tendency to, and I apologize, this is just lack of another word, nag about the topic. Constantly, too. Once again, though, I want to reiterate, under the idea of psychology, this does not apply to everyone who falls under one category or the other. OCD is just one of those things where it's like, I think the best thing to compare OCD to, and this will be a topic for another day as well, would be autism. There's no spectrum for it, but I feel like there should be, because there are different levels of OCD out there. This is where the over-exaggeration came from in the first place. That idea that there are different levels of OCD, different balances, some people know how to approach it a bit better than others who all have it, but unfortunately, there are unfortunate instincts that they'll obsessively go over anyway. There are just different levels of how much they do it. Or there are different levels of other factors of it as well. That's what I mean by, like, it's, for those who don't know, as a brief statement, autism, there's a spectrum for it. When you're on one side of the spectrum, it's extremely apparent that you have it. But on the other side of the spectrum, you do have it, but you seem so much like a normal individual that it almost seems like you don't. This same statement can be applied to obsessive compulsive disorder. There are some people who have it, and it's extremely obvious. But there are other people out there who do have it, but it is extremely hard to tell. This is where the whole over-exaggeration came from. This is why I was reiterating, I'm not trying to hate on those who claim OCD when they don't have it. It's because there are a lot of people who do claim it, and they do have it, but it is really hard to tell. But yeah, OCD is a very interesting disorder. It does work when it comes to details. It can, to a specific degree, work very similarly to autism and bipolar disorder in their own respective reasons. But when it comes to symptoms and action, that's where it's its own thing. It's interesting to me. Like I said, I've had friends in the past and partners in the past who have had obsessive compulsive disorder, and admittedly, I don't keep in touch with any of them anymore for one reason or another, but it's understandable why certain things happen with them, and it's unfortunate. But I don't know. These are kind of my thoughts on obsessive compulsive disorder. What do you guys think about that particular disorder? Do you guys know anybody who actually has it? If so, hope things are going well, either friendship or relationship wise for you guys, whether it's family members, boyfriend, girlfriend, business partner, or just a downright friend. I hope is going well for that, and this is probably a good thing to keep in mind if you didn't know already. But if there's anything you guys like to add about it, if you do know anyone like this, let me know in the comments below. Let me know if there are any details I missed about it. I don't know everything. Admittedly, I am no doctor. I only know this stuff about this out of downright experience, and I actually have taken classes teaching me this stuff. So, granted, even though I'm not a doctor and I don't have a degree or anything, I have actually taken classes. So that's where this knowledge comes from. Anyway, yeah, just if you guys have anything to add, put it in the comments below. Or if there's another disease, disorder, or disability you'd like to see on me discuss on here, let me know as well. I got a couple of them in mind already for the next couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm sure I can squeeze another one in if you guys like to hear. But in any case, I am going to leave this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to give the video a like and consider subbing to the channel because we do one of these every week, same day, same time. Thanks again for watching, guys, and we'll see y'all later. Bye. That was wow, crack. Okay, bye.